Hi. This is actually my first video explaining the process of what I do, as a digital creator both for videos and graphic designs as well. I've always worked in the music business, a wonderful and colorful scenario where I can express myself and my creativity in order to help artists to promote their music and their tours. I've done this for about 8 years and just now I'm realizing, hey, should I share what I know and how I do that to other people? Hell yeah. So here's one of my last edits for the upcoming DES ROCS Italian tour. The management gave me a first edited raw file to work on, so as first step I needed to import all my content into Final Cut Pro X. Yes, I work with Final Cut Pro X, it's easy, fast, maybe a little cumbersome somehow, but hey, I'm too lazy to compile my brain from scratch by learning a new software, so here we are. Anyway, I imported all my graphic assets into the project. I've set the project with automatic settings to be sure that the frame rate and the resolution of the final video could match perfectly the raw edited file. I'm working on a vintage 70s style artwork, with very light colors on it, mainly on yellows and cream tones. The first thing to do is to place all the object into the frame so I can immediately understand how all the composition balance into the frame. As a vintage retro style, I wanted to play around with some geometric shapes that could fill part of the video, so I can use them as masking object for the artist logo and other elements of the video. One of the most important things I want to achieve in my promos is the idea of three-dimensionality. That's why I always try to make all the elements of the video interacting with each other, so they can create a sort of dynamism on different levels, as you can see with the 3 rectangles on the left. Then I create all the keyframes I need, adjusting the right position of each rectangle and timing the movement perfectly and smoothly with the audio of the raw video. Keyframing is one of the most important things you should learn if you want to dive into the magic world of video editing. It's not that hard, but consider that it mostly depends on which software you're using. Final Cut has a very simple, maybe too simple, keyword system. Other softwares, like Adobe After Effects or Adobe Premiere, are way too complex to begin with. Just give it a try. More you're comfortable with keyframes, more you have flexibility in editing, shaping the animations and your workflow as you wish. Anyway, moving on. The following step I've done is matching all the color palette with the artwork itself. One thing to keep in mind when editing or generally working on artworks and videos for artists is that your edit matches exactly the mood and the visual of the client. You don't want to use too much pink into a black metal video, don't you? That's why I always try to stitch my videos as close as possible to the artwork, or, in case I have more flexibility, to adapt it to the artist himself. Now as you can see, I work on the text and all the infos the video needs to communicate. I place the concert date, as well as the location and the venue, on the lower part of the video. Remember always to place the text in order not to cover the artist in the background. Infos must be visible, clear but not disturbing or annoying. That's why we have to choose also for the right font. I have a particularly fetish for bold and chunky fonts, not only because in the majority of times they are so much readable, but also because they usually fill the space with balance and elegance. In this case I went for Now See, a pretty bold font that I thought it could match the style of the video. You know what? The final result will have a completely different font as asked by the management, LOL. As last element to be placed on the top of the edit, I've put the name of the tour right under the artist name, so it could be referenced as a kind of subtitle. As before, I've used the same color of the graphic design, extracting the element as a transparent PNG file from the artwork. Remember always to give the elements the same movement you did on the other shapes. So basically, in this case, I've went for a very simple slide in of the text, starting from the rectangles I've created before. Using the first rectangles as a hiding point where the animation of the logos start, it gives more grooviness to the whole scene. So grungy. Now it's time to put the final touches for the outro of the video, generally composed with agencies' logos, sponsors, and everything that usually on a graphic design is put into the info line. As I wanted to have a final recall on the artwork itself, I've decided to create a single Pantone matched with the same background color of the flyer and filled with some figures directly taken from that as well. I've placed the figures with a very low opacity just to give an idea of the artwork without compromising the legibility of the next elements. This is now the perfect spot to put my final logo on, in this case the agency brand. Last few adjustments on the animation and now I can fade out the audio. Let's see the final result. Once the edit has been approved by the artist management, the following step is to create all the different formats for socials, like this 4 to 5 feed post and the vertical format of the story. Always remember that all this kind of content is expressly made for socials, that's why of the short length of the video and the extremely simple concept behind, but that's totally another topic. If you'd like more content like this or an in-depth analysis of what this type of videos need to aim for social medias, let me know, I'd be glad to create content about it. Thank you for watching and see you on another edit.